I asked an arena children how he rose to fame, ascribed a national symbol, a duck, a dive, an elegant strut. He flutters a rainbow of feathers, a kaleidoscope of colours, red, green, gold. A majestic sideways glance surveys me skeptically. His cacophony calls in bird song, a natural musician, a powerful chest, and a twitch that bluffed. No other creature better defines Malawi.
Hello there, I am Mavuto Piri, the Malawian gentleman this book is about. It's my true story, and I'm glad that I've made so much progress. I've shared my life experience so that others can read and change their opinions about people like myself.
Chapter 1. Every patient has a backstory. What precipitated your mental illness? The bespectacled, lanky psychiatrist inquired, leaning back in his wooden armchair, staring unblinkingly at my expressionless face as I sat opposite him on the other side of the oblong desk in the consulting room at Nano District Hospital on Wednesday the 8th of March 2023. It was the first time in my 27 years of life I had been asked to explore contributory factors to my diagnoses of bipolar disorder and childhood schizophrenia. He raised his eyebrows in a questioning stare. Never thought about it, Mavuto? Tap, 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 tap. His thin fingers hit the keypad of his brand new Partners in Health assigned laptop as he typed up the notes from my clinical review without looking down, surveying me with an unwavering look. I had never thought about it. A moment of pensive reflection. Walking the 1.5 mile back to my uncle Chifundo's house in Boma, Nano, I kept mulling over the duty psychiatrist's Dr. Butio's questions. My thoughts still ruminating, I lay back on the springy mattress on my wooden double bed, fish out my techno smartphone from the side pocket of my jeans and Googled Preceptory Factors schizophrenia.
A list of articles came up, clouding the entire phone screen with medical jargon I could not decipher. One italicized heading was legible enough to resonate with me: disruptive childhood and early onset of schizophrenia. I suddenly realized the impact of my backstory on how my life had panned out as I began to itemize what was amiss from early childhood. Any depiction of my earliest memories will revolve around episodes in which my mother was present. I remember how I used to have arguments that culminated in loud outbursts with her from as early as 2005. We're always moving from pillar to post. I can recall arguing in an aggressive tone of voice in Chichewa with my mum. She had just disclosed over a bowl of nsima that she had been offered an adult nursing role elsewhere in Lilong, having stepped down from the one she had at the unit in Likuni Hospital, the place she had worked at from around 1999 to 2005. I had interjected with, "I really want to stay in here this time," heatedly. "I've made friends at Chiambi Private School." I emphasized the adverb here to reiterate my point. I was barely 10 and in the last year of primary school but had thrown persistent tantrums well past the age of 2. I was sitting at my usual spot eating, which was the rectangular wooden dining table, a luxurious item of furniture considering the standard of living in our built-up area of Lilong in 2005.
My mum, standing beside me at the table, had kept her head lowered. She knew how to win an argument with me and was putting into practice her silence is golden principle. You'll make new ones, Mavuto. She coaxed softly after about 10 minutes of silence, pouring another generous amount of nsima into the yellow plastic bowl in front of me, all the while avoiding my angry stare. She sighed, shook her head in exasperation, and headed off towards the arched doorway leading to our minuscule kitchen. I could still overhear her mumbling crossly above the noise of tap water running. My mum did not splash out on Western clothing as she used to have her hair plaited by a hairdresser friend of hers, and wear affordable, traditional clothes, so all she was trying desperately to do was earn a few more kwachas to buy essentials commodities like the milk she had poured to the brim into my porridge bowl. It was obvious from her countenance, she was displeased at my audacity to even complain about relocating to yet another part of Lilong. More milk. She called out from the kitchen. I could see her arms moving in a ferocious manner as she rubbed the metal scouring pad over the saucepan she had cooked the meal in, on the small electric cooker purchased the previous Christmas. Stop trying to change the topic, Mum. I shouted back.
I was not going to let a delicious bowl of milky porridge distract me from making an irrelevant point. I'm not, my dear. Once we move to Salimatu, you'll love it there. She carried on, back towards me, her tall, slender frame bent over the zinc kitchen sink. She tried to dress up Salima, a district in the central region, like a birthday present in order to cajole me into agreeing to move. My opinion was immaterial, I thought unhappily, drifting off into a daydream as I turned my head towards the other direction to watch my half-sisters Yulamo and Chimwamwa skipping on the veranda, which was overlooked by gigantic green trees with protruding branches stretching like enormous arms over the roof of our bungalow. I was observing them through our off-white net curtains that were not long enough to cover the entire length of the window frames of the wide-open window of our tiny living room. We lived in one of the nursing quarters assigned to staff with multiple children. There was a school friend of theirs visiting that afternoon, Dalito, another Ngoni girl. It seemed to me back then their friend was mainly there to referee the game or help Chimwamwa, the youngest child in the blended family in 2005, hold the other handle while Yulamu jumped rhythmically over the thin vinyl wire with the skill of an acrobat. Yulamu, born in 2001, was a force to reckon with. I can remember her shouting instructions as they played about how to turn the rope so it did not entrap her skinny legs. Indoors, I led the argument with my mom Diedet, as the last thing I wanted was for her to relay the gore details to my stepdad on his return home from work driving for his employers. One constant feature in my backstory is how many times the word moving comes up. I was born in Songoni, Zomba, but had spent most of my childhood in dense rural villages in Lilongwe by 2008 before moving back to built-up residential areas.